right? So anything in that sense, that's probably the easy way to understand what a layer 2 technology is, right? You've got the Bitcoin blockchain, which is this own kind of source of truth, and a layer 2 can be anything built on that. Like now, the Lightning Network versus, let's say, Coinbase is a much more open and secure system cryptographically, because Coinbase is just trusting they're doing, whatever they're doing, right? You got to hope that Coinbase is being honest and they're not going to run away with your money like Mt. Gox did. So there are differences in layer 2 technologies. Like something like the Lightning Network is decentralized and open, and something that's happening on Coinbase, you can't really see what's going on, right? But a layer 2 is anything like that. You've got the truth of the blockchain, and then you've got something that's built on top of it that then reintegrates with the blockchain as a kind of way to lock that in. So a layer 2 can be many, many different things, and that's any one real simple way to think about it. Another analogy you could use is like the internet, so like layer 1 is like TCP/IP or whatever, this is like, maybe that's like over a few people's heads, but this is the bits and bytes sort of parts of the internet. And then you've got something like email, which is running on top of that, right, which uses that protocol as a way to kind of do a separate thing that's built on top of it, right? So that's another way to kind of get your head around it, really. Yes? Well, layer 2 is off-chain. On-chain is layer 1, because layer 1 is the chain, and layer 2 is any application that's built on top of the Bitcoin or other blockchain that's using that as like a peg to lock in and out of, right? At some point, that returns to let's just keep it to Coinbase, to keep it something nice and simple that people understand. You've got what happens on Coinbase. What happens on there has no reality to what happens on Bitcoin. It's just its own separate thing. But at some point, you say, okay, I've done my trading. I want my Bitcoins back. And then it pegs back into the Bitcoin blockchain and sends you your Bitcoin, right? And Lightning is a similar thing where you're just kind of like using a Bitcoin transaction. You're creating a Bitcoin transaction. Then you and I are like running our own separate ledger. And then at some point, we say, okay, I want to close the channel. And so you've got this much, I got this much. And then we broadcast to the Bitcoin blockchain. And then that reality that was going on there then becomes reality on layer 1.
I want to give a thank you, Nacho, for explaining that. And I know that from the nods, some people get that, but I know from some of the blank looks and the question mark that somebody held up.
I just want to eat my nachos.
But it's really, you eat your nachos, yeah? So I want to give an analogy. No booze, no questions. We're going to use voting as the analogy. Anyone that has ever assisted in voting knows that there's obviously like a headquarters where all the numbers are reported to, and we all sit at home and we wait for the numbers to come in. Think of that like layer 1. We're waiting for the official number of votes for something. But if you've ever been part of a voting team, and I've done it once, you're in a community hall or some rundown building that's in dire need of renovation, and you're in there with all these bags of votes, and you do use whatever method you use to count them all, and then everyone in that room, all those votes get counted up. No one has a clue this is happening until somebody takes the collective sum of all of those votes, takes them somewhere, gives them, and then we all know about them. So this voting hall over here, this is layer 2. A lot of information and a lot of work can happen here that doesn't take the work of layer 1. Nobody knows about it because it's off-chain. And as soon as we take all of the final answers and we go over here to layer 1, it now becomes live. It now becomes registered. It becomes legitimate. It becomes real. And now everybody knows about it because the information is broadcast to the network, which broadcasts to the blockchain. So layer 1 allows us to do a shitload of work without using the resources of layer 2 allows us to do, without using the resources of layer 1. Does that analogy kind of make sense? Enough? All right. Oh, we have a question at the back. Do you want to use the mic?
So privacy coins, Pirate Chain, Monero, are they reconciled, or are atomic swaps reconciled on layer 2 without going to layer 1?
Repeat that. Oh, well, repeat that again.
Privacy coins like Monero and Pirate Chain, which you can use, well, I guess you can use anything for atomic swaps, but are atomic swaps done on layer 2 without going to layer 1?
The question there, so I'm clear.
Yeah.
You're referring to privacy coins.
Yeah.
In particular, you said Monero and Pirate Chain, and your question is in relation at layer 2.
Yeah.
and it's then broadcast to layer 1, or is it something else? Is that the question?
Basically, yes, that's the
I
question.
haven't got a clue. So who can answer that question? So atomic swaps, I know about a little bit. Khalil? Khalif. Ooh. I'll get it second time around, okay? Khalif, answer the question, please.
I can't speak on in depth on atomic swaps, but my idea of it is that it would be an off-chain event first and then registered on each swappable with Bitcoin. But just thinking about it, thinking through the process, it sounds like it's an off-chain event, but I can't say for sure.
We've just Googled it, which obviously is the truth. Layer 2. So I'm just curious. So how would you define for the people here what is an atomic swap, and why does it differ from not an atomic swap?
My understanding of it is it's beneficial because it reduces fees and time. When you swap something atomically, it's level, so that the transaction can
XRP, Cardano. These are all layer one, like they own their own highway. But a lot of them need these second layer solutions for lots of reasons. The biggest ones is speed and efficiency and cost. Does that help? So that's why we have them. But a lot of people, it's still a bit of a confusing point. George, where's the mic over there? Microphone. There we go.
So
you're gonna have to hold that mic close to you. Give me a second. Go for it. Hold it close to your mic. Mouth.
okay. Hello.
1, 2, 2.
Hello.
Try that.
So the difference, to clear everything up, is like trading gold. Layer one is I'm physically giving you the gold. Layer two is like it's easier for me to if I'm handling a lot of gold to just give you a paper slip for it. That's the easiest way to think about it.
Does that make sense? No, can you just repeat that again?
So layer one is like if we're trading gold, right? So I owe you, I'm buying a house from you, but I'm going to pay you in gold. I'm going to give it to you physically. Layer two is if I'm a broker of gold, so I handle gold all the time, it's going to be very difficult to, carry that gold and give it to people. So I give you a paper receipt of the gold.
So layer two for him is people exchanging gold IOUs until at some point it all rolls up and goes onto the chain. We'll leave it there.
Time.
Crypto's like coffee. Just drip, drip, drip,
Check,
drip,
check.
drip. And eventually you're like, or like
Check,
walking
check.
through a new city and you enter, exit a road and you're like, oh, I know where I am. And it's like slowly things make more sense. So layer one and layer two, if you're new, kind of doesn't matter too much. Let's move on to the next topic. All right, cool. So we were out of time a while ago anyway. So number two is another one that might not be like super, if you're new, it can mean various things, but we're talking about proof of work versus proof of stake and whether or not proof of stake is actually fair for people. So to give you a bit of context, it's good. I'm going to point over here. I'm sorry. This is the news section. So from a stake point on anybody, does this conversation count? Put your hand up if you've heard about everyone complaining about how much power usage Bitcoin uses because it uses more power than some random country you've heard of. Fuck Elon. So I'm going to ask that again. If you've heard that Bitcoin uses too much power, please put your hand up. That's better. All right, cool. So because of that, that's because of the way it works. It works on something called proof of work, which takes work. Work takes energy. Energy costs money, etc., etc. So there's another version. There's a few versions, but the big one is POS, proof of stake. And proof of stake is another way of doing it. But people have an argument that proof of stake isn't fair. They argue that proof of stake makes rich people richer and that it doesn't actually have a lot of, it's never really been fully proven that it works. So the questions I want to put out to people without getting too much into it is who has the simplest analogy for proof of work, who has the simplest analogy for proof of stake, and then we can get some opinions on whether or not we think proof of stake is better than proof of work. Any takers? If you can explain in less than a minute what proof of work is. It's a tough one. You're going to go for it? You're going to go for it? Okay. Where's the other mic? I kind of put it over here because I thought like you'd be the loudest table. No? Do you want to pass that over to Jimmy?
So proof of work is kind of like you work in a regular job. You get salary, right?
Jimmy, just a bit closer to your mouth.
Proof of stake is basically after you make some money, you put in a bank and you live on dividend income. That's my take. And additionally, with proof of stake, you can control the blockchain system to what they call the automated autonomous governance network. So you have voting power.
Hold the mic. I'm gonna question some of that. So you're saying proof of work is going to a job to do something,
Yes.
to earn money.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna earn money. I'm gonna go here, type on my computer, get paid.
No.
As an example, no, going to work.
You have a computer that does the work for you.
Well, that would be.
Yeah, the miner, a node in a network.
I thought your first analogy was proof of work is like having a job.
Yeah, that's your job. You have to maintain that node.
Okay, right. Okay. I see what you're saying there. It's a computer that's not for me, and my job is proof of stake. I go to a bank.
Well, that means you have some initial money,
Something.
equity,
Yeah.
that you put it into a bank, and you live on the dividends income.
Okay. Well, either I have the wrong thinking of what proof of stake is, or I don't understand the analogy, but lots of people are nodding, which probably means I'm wrong. So I need a thank you.
That's a a bit under a minute.
I need a
Thank you. Proof of work, you need a high infrastructure miner, a lot of electricity power. I make it 2014. I waste a lot of money in Germany because we have high electricity costs, so my income was nearby zero. Proof of stake, you can mine on a Raspberry server. I make it already 2 years with the baby Bitcoin. It's called BPS. He's fast, he's more safety. And this will be the new Bitcoin. And you can stake it on your cell phone. And this is the future of everything what you will see in future. You don't need the big mining companies anymore. You can do it by yourself.
Okay. All right. Cool. So
There's a bit of an ad.
there's a bit of an advert in that. So let's keep our pictures of things
I
to a minimum.
can give you a quick.
Go on, Khalif.
I think thank you guys for the analogy. Does anybody have more questions to what they heard so far? Right.
Yeah.
Me too.
I do.
If I was just coming here and I didn't know, I would want it to be explained like this. Proof of work is in the name. It's proof that you worked. And once you have that proof, you're rewarded for it. Right? So we're all competing globally, worldwide, to solve mathematical problems with these computers that takes more and more computing power to solve that problem. Now, the problem is like, it's only there to slow the network down because Satoshi thought of that. You just have to prove that you solved the problem. And that's your proof of work. And you're rewarded with a block reward. And every 4 years, that reward is cut in half. That's proof of work. Proof of stake it's just proof of that you own this, right? So the reason that they use proof of stake is to reach consensus agreement on all the nodes in the network, right? And it's easier to do that if I have less nodes to talk to. So if I need to agree with everyone in this room, it's going to be really hard. But if it's just me and Donnie, we might agree. You see? So if everybody's staking and they're allocating their coins or their asset, whatever it is, it's accounted for. So we don't have to ask what these coins, tokens are doing. We just need to ask the ones that are not staked. It makes it easier, faster, cheaper to reach a consensus when you have proof of stake. You're staked and you get rewards for staking. That's it. Hope it was clear.
I like that. Anybody? Can we give Khalif a round of applause for that? I think it's due one.
Well, okay.
Yes.
Check my channel out.
That was a very good explanation. I just want to add
Who's
something.
talking? Someone's talking.
Here at the back,
Perfect. What's your name, sir?
Adrian.
Adrian.
Yeah.
Welcome, Adrian.
My
Go on, what
first
would you like to
evening
say?
here. Hello to everybody.
And I just want to add a little bit. I work in crypto for about 8 years now. I contributed to developing few blockchains. Proof of work is by far, I think, is going to continue to come there. Proof of stake to me is like you mentioned before an election. It's like how much money you put in, and that also is going to influence how much money you're going to get out of the proof of stake, right? So you can be a staker with $100, and you want to compete in staking for millions of dollars. Of course, your reward is going to be this amount based on their design, how much the staking is offering. And a lot of people, which they're going to put like millions of dollars, they're going to have obviously a very, very different amount, which they're going to go home with. So there lies the, not inequality, I would say, it's the conundrum of the proof of stake. Number one is not being the safe as like the blockchain, like the proof of work. And number two is this bias, which can arise from this type of operation.
And
so that's all.
And so I have one, if you don't want me asking, Adrian, yeah?
Yes.
Adrian. Okay. So my question would be that my understanding with this unfairness between proof of stake and proof of work is that over here, let's just say the rich get richer. So we have people with lots to stake just get richer, which when the rich gets richer is followed with the poor get poorer. But over here, in proof of work, by my analogy, if you own a big farm, you want to get paid in Bitcoin. You get paid a lot in Bitcoin if you are the person that mines the block. Is that correct?
Yes.
So therefore, if you own a bigger rig with more computing power, you have a statistically higher chance of mining the block. Is that correct?
That's true.
So how, from a fair perspective, is it that the rich get richer? Because if I'm over here with a $10 million farm, I'm the rich in proof of work and I get richer. How is how is in this instance proof of work more fairer than proof of stake? That's the one thing I would like to understand. We have 1 minute left, so let's get some answers on this.
Hi, it's me again. So
Hi, Jimmy.
Hi. So your point is the rich people, they have a big farm. That's not necessarily true, because how Bitcoin works is you can dial in to a pool. It's all about strength in numbers, right? I don't really care so much about technology as long as we have people together. And if you run a small node, I run a small node, all of us, small node, we can beat the ETH, right, to stake this kind of, to participate. So it's out of reach for a lot of people, especially the poor people.
Wouldn't you have with proof of stake exactly the same thing, where I say I'll make a pool and we all come into it? Is that not the same as in Bitcoin, where we all have little nodes and we collectively are a bigger one?
Yes, that can definitely be done. However, essentially, we're dealing with now in the world, they have unlimited amount of resources. They can afford to hold and not sell, right? You have no chance to compete with these kind of people. And once in a while, they'll come in to scale, they'll have most of the coins, right? It's a system of control. It's not so much of democratization of technology. That's my take on it.
Okay, cool. Thank you very much for that. Did someone else over here want to answer? We're good? All right. George, last comment. This is a quiet side of the room. I just want to say that. Like, you know, I'm looking, I want to see. George, you're in the hot seat.
Hello?
You're in the hot seat, man. One sec. 1, 2. Give us a hello.
Hello.
If everyone can try to just, if it's like a competition and you all win, if you can make the microphone touch the bottom of your chin.
Yeah, I can. Yeah.
Is it touching that? I see a big gap between you and the mic.
So can you hear?
Do you know what your chin is? This, you see this bit here?
Hello.
Imagine if you were to dribble, don't do it, but it would hit the mic.
All right. Hello.
1, 2, 2. Well done. That's better.
So the way I think about it is proof of stake. The problem with it is when you're staking something, you are insecuring the network because you're identifying yourself. So that's the real problem between the two. Whereas proof of work, you're not identifying yourself.
So we're talking about anonymity there.
No, it's
When you
because the whole thing is proof of work is the real secure network. Staking something, you're identifying yourself to the negator. So the only real algorithm right now is a proof of work that's more secure. That's what I know.
I think we're gonna. I want to say like it's. We're out of time a little bit. Adrian, you want to say something on there?
I just want to add that there are a few blockchains which they're doing a hybrid consensus. They're using proof of work and proof of stake in the same time. So that seems to be a compromise which works for some of the blockchains. That's all.
Cool. So I think I just want to. Can we all just give everyone a round of applause for discussing something that's like. It's like trying to explain 10 years of crypto in 8 minutes. Like if that one would go. And I appreciate that some people, it might not make much sense, but you'll hear a lot in the news. I think the reason I bring this up is I'm fed up of the conversation that Bitcoin costs a lot to mine. Like it's such a skewed way that we look at it. And it is, I don't want to say it's bullshit, like, because it does cost a lot to mine. Oh, banks cost a lot more, but it's like when someone says, oh, Bitcoin uses enough energy the same as El Salvador, and people go, "Oh, when was the last time we compared energy consumption to a country?" We don't have one. Have you finished your nachos? Then you can speak. Where's the mics? 1, 2. Just use mine here.
This one.
Yeah. See, try it. No, it's really shit.
That one thing, like I think with this argument, everyone misses is like, yes, to some degree, like what is wasteful, right? You know, like leaving your TV on all night, you know, your cell phone plugged in when you're not don't charge. It's wasteful, right? So wasteful is a relative consumption, relative topic. Bitcoin is by definition wasteful. Like it's supposed to be wasteful. Because like the energy is just solving pointless math problems, but the whole idea is that stops anyone getting like an upper hand on someone else. Like if you could, there's another coin called Cure Coin that uses the same sort of thing to like for protein folding, right? You know, that could help you solve cancer. But then you start a cancer business and you can like mine at a loss, right? And no one else can get in because you're trying to cheat in the system. So it is wasteful, but that's the whole point because you need to have something where everyone is equal and no one can like cheat the system to get some sort of special benefit. To make sure that this is like the foundation for the monetary network which secures the whole world, right? You know, is that it has to have something where no one can gain. And if you waste a lot of energy mining Bitcoin blocks, you got nothing to show for it, right? Unless you're mining Bitcoin. And that's the whole idea. So it is wasteful, but it's supposed to be wasteful. And that wastefulness is a good thing.
Thank you, Mr. Nacho. All right. So all of these topics we could literally talk about for hours. They're so big and complex. We do have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 topics to go. And at the current state, because we finish at 9:30 on the dot, 5 topics divided by the time left is 6 minutes. 9 o'clock on the dot. 9 o'clock, of course, yeah. 6 minutes is not a lot of time. So we're gonna cull one of these subjects, which means in the next minute, we need to work out which one. Now, if there's a game show, I'd say turn to your pads now and vote. It's not. We could do a Telegram thing, but it's going to be quicker. We're going to old school this. I'm going to read you 5 topics. If they don't mean anything to you, you don't have to put your hand up. But if you specifically like a subject, put it up. Try and put your hand up because a room with no hands doesn't help. Coinbase signed a big deal this week with not HMRC. Coinbase signed a deal with the Fed to release a lot of information, basically, and it was a 1.3 million deal. We have a subject around crypto ISO, and why does it even count? Why do some tokens like XRP have ISO and some don't? Stablecoin safety. What is the difference between fiat stablecoins and DAOs and all of this regulation that's coming? People at the Fed sold stocks, and they were like, "Oh, we suddenly become really ethical. We're going to sell our stocks, and we want to know what that means." And EVERGRANDE, could this kill us? These are the 5 subjects. So I want you to put your hand up if you're interested in it. The one with the least hands, we're cutting. Coinbase makes a deal for 1.3 million. Anybody want to talk about that? Couple of hands. We got crypto ISO standards. Does it even count? Anybody want to talk about that? It's an XRP conversation. We got stable coins. Are all stable coins created equal? What's the difference between them? Okay, we're doing that one. Yeah. Do you care about the Fed suddenly becoming ethical and selling their stocks to help you? Okay, we're doing that one. And EVERGRANDE, the Chinese company. Okay, we're doing that one. So we'll just start with those 3. Let's start with stable coins. Anybody not know what a stable coin is? Fantastic. Cool. Who's going to answer? Who has a microphone near them? Go for it.
I'm not answering.
Oh, you're running.
I'm running.
Someone on this side of the room, who's going to tell me what a stable coin is? Oh, we're a quiet corner. Okay, I'm going to the blue team over here. Who wants to tell us what stable coin is? Woo! Khalif, tell us. Come on.
I just talk. Okay.
No, we need the mic. We're live.
Yeah. 1 2 1 2. So, stable coins. It's really easy. Simple idea. It's pegged to an existing asset, or in this case, a currency. Like, for example, a US dollar stable coin example would be Tether, USDT, which is the biggest stable coin on the market. It's a lot of controversy surrounding Tether because of their auditing practices and history, but there's many other options for stable coins with the US dollar. Now there's stable baskets or a collection of fiats together with the idea that it reduces the volatility. If one asset, let's say the dollar is stable and maybe the euro is a little less stable and maybe like, Venezuelan peso is even less stable. ¿Cómo? Well, yeah, bolívares. Gracias.
Okay.
So, it's just pegged to an existing asset to make it stable to that asset. That's all it is.
Anybody not understand that? We're good?
Crypto Khalif. Khalif with a C. Khalif, CALIPH. Subscribe right now.
Like, this crypto is going crazy. Ding, 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 ding. All right, so we're all cool with that. So stablecoin is a crypto version of a real world normally fiat currency. So like or pension. You say it's always equal. If this is worth this much, it is, and so on and so forth. So if something's pegged
going a little step backward into
Yeah, backwards, basically. So what he's talking about there is centralization and decentralization. He started with the premise where he said, what we're trying to achieve in crypto is decentralization. I would challenge that. That would be lovely. But I'm pretty confident there's a lot of organizations that are not trying to achieve that because they're very centralized. To give you an idea of centralized, banks are centralized. You remember like the off-chain, on-chain? Accountancy is a bit like that. The bank will do all of its books and then they'll roll up and they'll roll up and there's a central bank and a world bank and so on and so forth. And that's centralized finance. We have decentralized finance now where we can all just move money between us all and banks don't know. But I don't think banks like decentralization. However, that's one thing that defines stable coins as different. From my layman's perspective, I see two types of stable coins besides centralized and decentralized. I see stable coins that are backed by real world assets, fiat money, paper, bonds, gold, silver, like traditional things that you would collateralize something with. Does anybody not understand that? Okay. Then over here, we have stable coins that are backed by crypto. So, for example, and anybody correct me if I'm wrong here, but DAI, which is a DAO, which stands for Decentralized Autonomous Organization. But DAI is a stable coin backed by Ethereum, predominantly. Yeah? I'm looking at you, Khalif, because no one else is giving me a response. Yeah? Not okay. Give us an answer. Is it John? Chris.
Yeah, my name's Chris. You're not completely wrong, but you're not completely right. So DAI is technically a DAO, and DAI is a collection of stablecoins and then a little bit of Ethereum. So DAI consists of USDC, which is Coinbase's stablecoin, and USDT as well. And they use that to issue their own stablecoins. But just in case anyone is still confused on what a stablecoin is, I think we forgot to mention why stablecoins are actually important. So we have cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and Ethereum and all the other ones that you've ever heard of tonight. And the issue with using those as cryptocurrency, and currency meaning money, is that the price fluctuates. So the price of Ethereum and Bitcoin was up like 8% or whatever today. And a couple of days ago, it dropped like 20%. So that makes it really difficult to transact with things where the prices stay consistent and you need to exchange a consistent amount of money. So that's just kind of real quick why we need them and why they exist. And then you can get way down the rabbit hole about, who created them, what's the intent, how's the regulation going to affect it. But that's a completely different conversation. But if you just understand that the reason we have them is because we need to exchange consistent value, then you're like 99% of the way there.
Okay, and the reason I'm putting DAOs here and I'm putting traditional stablecoins there, Chris, I just want your nod on this. Over here then with the DAOs, yeah, they're backed by crypto, but may also be backed by other stablecoins. But because they're not backed by real world assets. They're backed by real world assets by proxy because
the USDC, which is Coinbase's stablecoin, is backed 1-to-1 by US dollar.
Yeah, so that's over
Gemini here. USDG is also backed 1-to-1 by the US dollar. Sometimes they create, and this is way down the rabbit hole, they call them algorithmic stablecoins, and you can back, technically, in theory, a stablecoin backed by anything. But generally, the more popular ones are usually backed 1-to-1 by US dollars, except for Tether, but Google that, you'll figure it out.
But I feel we just missed the beginning part. A DAO, is not backed by real world assets. That's the point I'm making, and I want to make sure we're cool with that.
Indirectly, kind of, sort of, kind of.
Indirectly, maybe, but sure. Because it's backed by stable coin.
stablecoin is in back.
it as cleanly the real world assets. If you're going to say, hey, I'm going to $1 million in my bank, here's the statement, and I'm going to issue 1 million tokens called the Crypto Del Carmen tokens, and they're worth $1 each. And every month I'm going to show you an audited bank statement that shows there's $1 million in the bank. Then you can clearly see that there's 1 million to 1 million. With Tether, they have 68 billion tokens, and the backing of it is a bit questionable. And with Evergrande, this Chinese company that might go bust, the reason people are more skeptical of Tether at the minute is because a lot of Tether's debt is in paper, what's the word? Commercial paper, which is a fancy word that means a lot of things. One of them is IOU. And the concern is that a lot of Tether's money is in Evergrande's commercial paper. And if Evergrande goes bust, and I think they had 30 billion. So of the 68 billion Tether, is it 30 billion is in commercial paper? Can anyone give me a, don't know, I'm pretty certain it's 30 billion. So half is in commercial paper. We have no idea how much of that's in Evergrande, but let's say 50%. If they go bust, what happens to the value of Tether? What happens to the crypto market? Which brings us to the question, are all stable coins made equal? And if the SEC at the 28th of this month choose to ban Tether, obviously only in America, but that's going to have a knock-on effect, what does that mean? If you've got your money in Tether and you're an American citizen and you're using an American site, what are the implications of that? And these are some of the things that most of us don't want to talk about, don't really want to think about, which is why we're talking about stable coins. So anybody in the room want to share what they think would be the safest stable coin that you would put your money in if you were concerned about the market wobbling? US dollar. US dollar. Is that your answer? Okay. So we got a first taker here. Who, if the market was wobbling, who would not put their money in the US dollar? Any hands? All right. I'm getting to it. Where? So where would you put it? We're only talking. What do you say? Die. He needs a mic.
The only reason I would use DAI is because it's half collateralized and half algorithmically stable.
Okay, let's slow down. I want to keep it really simple. It's half collateralized.
Yeah, it's by people putting in assets, and you basically DAI is like a dollar. It's a debt position, right? So you're getting a debt position, which is equivalent to a dollar, and you collateralize an asset to get a loan. That's what really DAI is. But it's the reason why I would use it is because it's both algorithmically and collateralized. It uses both. Whereas you have another stable coin that's Korean one that is called Terra
UST.
Yeah, UST, and it's completely algorithmic. But we've had a rug pull like Titan that was completely algorithmic. So that's all you have as a proof of concept that it might not work.
So you're more pro DAI than UST.
Well, it's a mix of both. So you gotta go with what works. So algorithmically, it hasn't worked yet.
Okay, we got Maria, no, 16, of course.
So to sum it up, it's like a diversified portfolio. DAI. It's a diversified group of cryptocurrencies. No.
Sort of.
So from what I got, DAI is a collection of stable coins and Ethereum. Is that correct?
Sorry, I'm just having a water
It's okay.
issue. We're good. It's not a group of cryptocurrencies. DAI is a stable coin. Yeah? And some stable coins over here are backed by gold, silver, cash. DAI is a DAO. I know that can be a bit confusing. And DAI is 50% collateralized by these and 50% what he refers to as algorithmically stable. I'm going to just avoid that bit for now. So it's not based on other cryptocurrencies. It's just based on a mix. Cool. Are we stable coined out? Any final questions on the stable coins? Do we understand why we're kind of discussing it? Because a lot of people keep a lot of money in crypto in stable coins, and there's a few things coming soon that might change things. Is that you don't think so? Oh, I don't know if Eddie, are you looking at me? Oh, right. You suddenly was like, okay, never mind. So if you're keeping a lot of money in stable coins, then just being aware of that. That's the main point within it. We'll move on from stable coins for now. So the other one was the new ethics of the Federal Reserve. Do you not think it's really, really lovely how the Federal Reserve are now caring about us? Like they have, I don't know if anybody knows, but the Federal Reserve has our best interests at heart. And this is serious, yeah? So they've decided, after all of these years, that this month, at from what I'm aware of, the height of the stock market, just at a 0.72 fib extension, they all decided that today was the day where they're going to sell the stocks that they own because of a conflict of interest. And I found this, I find this interesting. I don't know what it means, but when a lot of rich people say that I feel morally and ethically conflicted, and I think that for your best interest, I should take this action, I generally have a few, I want to look at that further. So does anybody, other than comments about, what's it called when you badmouth someone? It has a word. Basically, let's just not like take the shit out of them and poke fun. Let's talk about it. So why Letitia has a question or a comment. Why would the Fed do this, and what does it mean?
Beautiful. Hi, everyone. Leticia here. So, I mean, how funny. They're selling at the top of the market, right?
First of all, can someone confirm, is that true? It dropped. I know today we've just had a rally, I think, in the S&P. Yeah? But did they sell like 4 days ago at a peak, and the next morning, Monday, I think it dropped? That is true, yeah? From what I read. Okay.
Well, I mean, the market, the stock market and the real estate market in many cities, it's been artificially inflated by all the money printing. So how, they're smart. They're selling at the top of the market, and I do feel, based on very smart investors that I know, like a crash is oncoming, and timing was perfect for them. Ha ha ha.
I think they actually said that. I think somebody's comment was how coincident that they actually tweeted when someone challenged them. They said, "Oh well, how coincident is that I just happened to fall on luck?" And I thought it was a bit of a pretty cheeky comment to make. But Letitia just mentioned something there. She talked about an impending crash. Anybody in this room, without putting dates on it, think that in the next 6 to 12 months there will be some rather large economic crash that will occur? Okay, so about half the room's commented on that. So that's what I find the most interesting than anything. It actually put a little bit of the shitters up me when I saw it. I was like, these sorts of actions aren't just taken for no reason. Does anybody care? Does anybody know anything further on it that they want to share or discuss in and around this? Orlo, can we get a mic to the front? Thank you, Christina, for being mic runner today as well.
So I read that I'm trying to say Bernanke, but who's the new guy?
Of what?
Who? Powell.
Powell.
So they did a giant The reason behind this was they did a giant investigation. Well, they didn't do it. A internet person did an investigation and found that all of the quantitative easing that was happening was supposed to be, when the government does quantitative easing, they're supposed to buy municipal bonds from, say, the city of Philadelphia, or state bonds from states, or big bonds from Home Depot, big companies, or mutual funds across them all. But Powell and a bunch of other leaders of the Fed bureaus throughout this country all happen to be the people that got bought from out of the Fed. So they owned a bunch of municipal bonds for the city of Philadelphia, but they weren't buying them directly from Philadelphia. They were buying from Powell and all of his buddies across the table. And so they were basically hedging themselves, putting a little bit of extra cash in their process through all of the trillions of dollars of quantitative easing that's happened over the course of since 2008. So they created a quote unquote, they looked into this process, Powell did, and the rest of the Fed, and decided that the actions that they had taken was against their own personal guidance of the Fed, and so they're going to sell at the top of the market to fix the problem.
Thank you, Orlo, for explaining that. The person with the most education in the room on it. So then do you think that's fair? No comment. I plead the fifth. All right, so we'll end that one there. I wanted to make sure people were aware of it. And I didn't really want to bring up a whole conversation about what might be coming externally, because I think we'll probably bring that in the next 2 weeks. We're going to have a couple of socials for 2 weeks, and then there's some pretty chunky topics we want to discuss for the whole night. Now, before we move on to the next subject, I want to bring up 3 points. I was going to call you Daniel then. Pardon? Mauricio. In one of the groups wants to have a whole night where we just discuss NFTs. And that is because every time we discuss, everyone nodding. That's because every time we discuss NFTs, it seems to get quite loud and heated and excited. And like 6 minutes later, we look to move on. So we're going to have at least the majority of the time on NFTs. So that's going to come. We're just in discussions at the minute. So I put this out because if you're involved in NFTs, if you like them, if you hate them, if you think they're a bubble, if you think they're the best thing sliced bread or anything like that, then in a couple of weeks, we would like to do that. And we might make it a bit more panelistic so that people can come up and we can just have a little bit more of a formal discussion around it. So that's going to be NFTs in a couple of weeks' time. The next 2 weeks, we're going to just be having socials. So these events are a bit more curated. We have mics, we have discussion points, things like that. But for the next 2 weeks, we're just going to be having socials whilst I'm away. We're just going to have a little bit of a break because these things take more work than you would imagine to put on. The last 2 things I want to say is around support. So like this place is called Zitla Siba. Who's never been to Zitla Siba? Let's show you your hands. Literally just a couple. That's really, really good then. All right. These guys really help and support us. They're the most friendliest place we have been for these events, and we love it here. But if anyone is new to Mexico, like Mexico survives on tips. Now, on the one hand, this is probably one of the wealthiest communities in Playa. Yeah. But on the other hand, we're also a bunch of newbies and expats, and we're stingy as fuck. So I really just want to implore you to just remember that in Mexico, most people that serve get paid nothing. Like literally, like they live on tips. And as a European, I'm not used to that. But I've learned over here. So I just ask at the end of your bill, we've had people not even pay their bill. Please don't be one of those. Like you all have a nice number. These guys are doing their best to keep my number private. You've all got one of these. So when you're paying, just remember that these guys get nothing, and they're so supportive. All right. So if you don't mind, for Augustina, for Guillermo, for Edgar, for Danny, for the guys that run this play, can we please give them a round of applause for supporting us? Because they are really.
In the tips are split up between everyone, the kitchen as well.
Yeah, because the kitchen always get forgotten as well. All this lovely food you're eating and the bar staff. So please, I do ask that. That would be my primary giving. However, if you're feeling particularly plush, this new microphone and mixer PA system and everything else that you've seen up by all these flashing lights, all these tech and all these cables, they weren't free. However, we never want to charge for these events. We want to make them inclusive. You now have our freshly laminated, because they're not beer mats. They can be now. These are our cards. There's a QR code on it. We take all forms of cryptocurrency. If you feel like fancying to donate, if you're feeling tight, please give your money to the guys behind the bar this time. And if you've got spare money left over, you want to put it in a cup and bring it to the front, we will take that as well. But we just kindly ask, if you get value from these events, to just give us a little bit of something. That is it for those points. They're the only 3 things I wanted to bring up. Have I missed anything?
No.
All good? All right, we're going to move on to the little XRP jokes there. I was going to talk about Evergrande for the last of the event, but before I do that, I just want to see something different. Does anybody here have a burning topic which really confuses them that they'd love to discuss? Because I kind of feel like if we cover up the Evergrande thing, what? COVID. This is a non-COVID discussion dinner. Okay? I hope... I'm glad to...
I have a question.
I really want to give thanks to everyone for wearing the masks tonight. I really honor the social distancing as well. So somebody has a question.
Yeah, me here.
Wait, Edgar.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nice.
Go for it.
Thank you. Okay, so I'll try to structure this the best way that I can. But my question is, I recently read an article that said that Ethereum had about 8,000 nodes, which surprised me because I thought that when I just started in crypto and heard about this global movement, I thought that there were going to be like thousands and thousands of nodes, right? So first thing I read is that there are about 8,000 nodes in crypto, and most of them are in AWS. So one of the things that I'm questioning myself after that is, isn't it possible that all this movement that wants to awaken can be stopped if, I don't know, someone, for example, someone in the, I don't know, if Ethereum is going into some illegal stuff, they call up Jeff Bezos and tell him, we have a warrant and you need to stop this. Is that both?
Anyone's looked at like what it takes to run an Ethereum full node, like generally you need like more than 32 gigabytes of RAM, like a very high-end processor to be able to keep up with, because Ethereum, right, you know, you've got all this stuff going on, smart contracts, and there's a lot of data, and the way that network consensus happens on Ethereum as well is kind of like more computationally demanding than other things are, right? So what that means is that, like, if you want to be a full node on Ethereum, you've got to have like a pretty powerful computer, right? More than like someone with a couple $100 can buy, right? Something that's going to cost you a few $1,000s. So, you know, what this means is that, you know, if you're not running one of those full nodes, right, the whole idea of like, a lot of people seem to forget this, like the whole idea of Bitcoin, right, or all these things is that you have the blockchain, right? And so the blockchain is your source of truth so that you can verify that this thing's true and no one can falsify it or whatever, right? But if you're not running like a full node yourself, if you don't have a computer that you are running yourself that has that blockchain history, you're just asking some other computer like what's going on, right? Now, how many people here like run their own Bitcoin or whatever network they partake on, run their own full node? Anyone? Right, so like when you start up your wallet, you're not asking the blockchain, dude. You're like sending an IP request to some company that's running that wallet, and they're saying, yes, you have this amount of money, and when you send a transaction, it goes through their server, and they say, well, yes, we'll let you send that on to our full node that we run, which broadcasts it out to the network, right? So what I'm describing is like what happens for the bank, dude. You know, like you send them an IP request, say, could I please send my money to this person here? If they say no, well, they just don't want to let you do it. There's nothing you can do, right? And that is the danger that you're talking about there with Ethereum and other networks, is that like if you're not able to run your own full node, and so you're going to have to trust one of these big powerful computers because you can't run it yourself, and they say, oh, sorry, the government's come and like given us this blacklist of addresses and you're on it, and we're just not going to accept that transaction and fire it forward. There is nothing you can do. You know, this is not a decentralized network in that thing. You're just the bitch of, it's exactly like a bank, just on a smaller decentralized kind of way, right? So what you are talking about is a very big threat, and it's something that very few people understand or even have their head around. Is like the fact if you don't have your own source of truth, like your own blockchain that you are running, and whatever network that is that we're talking about, you know, you are trusting someone else, right? Now that might be a slightly better system if you're trusting a friend, or you've got like 3 or 4 companies you can trust rather than one bank. It might be a slightly better system, but you can understand why it's still fucked, right? It's a still fucked up system. So that is a problem with Ethereum and many other blockchains. That's where people are like, oh, it's slow. You can only do 7 transactions a second. Well, you know, it's debatable. All things like Lightning and other things, there's ways you can get around that. What's most important is that anyone can like run a Raspberry Pi. You can even run a full node on your phone, and then you can have one. You know, you're running that software, and you can trust that, and that is your thing. Where you send me some money, and I can look at something that I run and say, yes, I got that money. Well, I'm gonna have to ask some other dude, hey, did you send me the money? And that person could totally lie, right? And this, trust me, guys, this will happen in the future at some point. This will happen. If this thing gets big enough and powerful enough, someone will, all these things I talked about will come to pass. They're not happening yet, but they will come to pass. So you're right. That may well be the number. I can't say if it's less or more, but that wouldn't be surprise me. And yes, most Ethereum nodes are run on Infura, which is like an AWS system. If people don't understand what that means, it's basically a big computer company where they've got all the big computers running. And
well, let's not just say a big computer company.
Big computer. Yes. No one knows it. Yeah. So now we have to explain service and all this kind of stuff.
No, but when we say a big company, like it's not just a big company. Ethereum running on Amazon. You've got a huge which the SEC could go. They could turn it off.
Quite necessary, just company based there.
to understand why.
This, like, you mean this last
This
like
last
what Nacho
little-
was talking
yeah.
about? Yeah. I
So
don't
Nacho
really
responded
understand.
to Edgar at the back.
Yeah.
And Edgar made a statement. He said, I've read in early Ethereum has 8,000 nodes.
I don't know
And
what a nod
that's what we're going to
is.
come. Exactly. That's one of the things I was waiting for. Thank you. Yeah. It's just this 8,000 people. Yeah, it's 8,000 nodes. So we're going to put up here on the shelf 8 nodes. What the fuck's a node? And then he said, of those 8,000 nodes, a lot of them are on AWS. Does that so there's 2 statements there that without understanding them, we don't even know what it means. So a node, N-O-D-E-S, a node, or nodes, there's plural, is I'm just going to say it's a computer. It's easier. It's a thing that does the work. Think of it like, what analogy can we give? What analogy can we give? Nothing's coming to mind. Like it does this stuff. What? So a node does the work. Every blockchain needs computers. Think of it like this: the internet, and you type. Where does that web page come from? It comes from a server. Makes them working together at the same time to collectively protect. The internet isn't decentralized. You know, I type a web address in. Address you're going to get from there. With blockchain, we have decentralized data. So when I'm pulling up something, whatever is being done across all of these nodes. Does that kind of, so the more nodes there are, I'm going to ask you this question. Okay, so yes or no answer. It's 50-50. The more nodes there are, is the network stronger or weaker?
Stronger?
Stronger. Give her a round of applause. All right, it's stronger. So the more networks there are, is it more decentralized or less?
More decentralized.
It's more decentralized because you're spreading it out, you're sharing the load. So Edgar's statement said there's only 8,000. He thought there'd be way more than that. And of those 8,000, a lot of them are on the same platform, which then you start asking the question, is it decentralized? If the vast majority of those nodes are in one ecosystem, you could argue it's not decentralized. Edgar, is that a fair summary of your...
Totally right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank
Okay,
you.
cool. I'm just checking we're on the right lines. So the reason this is up is because this whole debate in crypto about centralized versus decentralized is a really big point that, if I'm honest, most people don't think about. Like I didn't understand why this is even a thing to think about until last year. I've been in crypto since about 2017. Yeah. And last year I got it. I was like, oh, fuck. Like it is all about decentralization. Why?
Right.
Because centralization fucks us. Pretty much. Education, healthcare, finance, governance. Like we don't have a working model of centralization on this planet today that is for the betterment of us. We don't. So decentralization creates a more fairer, because it's not perfect, but what is? A fairer system. Because with decentralization, everybody gets an equal opportunity for whatever it might be, whether it's bit mining or DeFi or whatever. So with Ethereum, which is the #1 DeFi platform, it's the one you hear, it's all of these things. His statement is like, hey, here's this thing everyone thinks is decentralized and good and all of these things. But then he finds out that actually it's only run by a handful of nodes and so many of those nodes are on the same platform. Does that give good enough context for why that's an interesting thought point?
Yes,
Yeah?
it does. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your question as well. And everyone really gets why the whole decentralized thing is is a really big centralized, someone's in control. Historically, when someone's in control, it's not always worked out for the best for us. I'm not anti-centralization. This is what they do with Coinbase. You mean like when the price suddenly goes crashing on Coinbase and Binance? Well, Binance thinks it's decentralized. But this whole point on centralized and decentralized carries everywhere. Even the DAI coins we were talking about before, some of the stable coins are centralized stable coins owned by a company, and the SEC can say to that company, hey, we don't want you to accept money from that wallet. And because it's the SEC, they will go, okay, if you have a decentralized stable coin, the SEC are going to go, hey, they don't even know who they're talking to. It's decentralized. They're like, it's like when somebody said they wanted to sue Bitcoin. Who are you going to sue? Oh, this is the one thing I really love about Bitcoin. It's different than every other coin. You can go, he made it. Right there, Alejandro. Yeah, I told you I'd remember. 21st name. I don't do more than 20 names a day, but I said I'd try. So we know who made it, but with Satoshi Nakamoto, we don't know. And as my lovely lady said today, she's decided that it's a woman. A woman is now Satoshi Nakamoto, as said by Christina Batti. You heard it here first. Time check.
Time. That's it.
It's time. We should sing a song. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. We do want to respect time. We think that there's like 70 people here, which like we didn't even know we could hold. And I just want to say a really big thank you for everyone that's come, who is new or is old or is familiar or has come back to player, because it is this vortex of energy that seems to suck us in and hold us in. Like, oh, how long you been here? I only came for a day. How long you been here? 12 years. So I do love that about player. So for the people that are here, for myself, for Chris, but most especially for you guys, because without you guys, we don't have a conversation. Please, for the final last time, give everyone a round of applause. Thank you so much. As I said, we have two types of events. We have a social event and we have a topic event. This is a topic event. Next week is a social event. And I emphasize that because people show up next week and go, what are we talking about? And it's just a lot of people drinking beer without a microphone discussing. They're very different because guaranteed tonight, so many of you have been silent because you're listening, you're learning, yeah? You come next week, you will talk to people. That might make you not come. But I encourage you to come because it's these tiny little conversations where we learn a lot. And then as we learn more and we drink with each other and we relax, when we come back in a couple of weeks and there's a microphone, you might feel more comfortable because you're like, hey, I know these people. They're my kind of people. So that's what we're looking for. So the next 2 weeks, we have a social. Then in the third week, we're back to topics. We might do the NFT one, we might not. Let's see if we sort that out in time. But it is coming. And there was another long topic we wanted to have, but it's evaded me in a minute. So I'm going to reiterate something. When you're paying your bill, number one, please pay your bill. I'm going to really try and enforce that. Please pay your bill. If you can, find it in your hearts. These servers are really, really beautiful. They're lovely. They look after us. Please tip. And if you have spare change at the end of the day, maybe that Cardano or, a bit of dust. It'd be really good if we could collect dust, wouldn't it? Yeah. Then the QR code on your table is to just help to contribute to putting these events on. They're going to remain free. We would like it to be donation based. And if you can't, like a 20 glass jar, and we'll pick it up. Other than that, I want to say good night and farewell. My name is Daniel. This is Chris, helping out with everything. Thank you very, very much. Everybody take care. Have a nice night. Goodbye.
Call in 10 minutes and say I did. Got it going on, baby. From now. Got it in? I'll be there in 1 minute. Don't kill me. I got So now they got
I bought my car from his family, his girlfriend's family. Oh, that's like the bald guy? No, the friend of well, it's another athlete. There's two athletes from Britain and England. Yeah. So I don't know him. I don't know. Ah, okay. I know another athlete. Lower?
Ah, ok. Perdón, Alma. ¿Cómo estás tú? Bien. Qué bueno verte. Muy bien.
I don't know.
So I was like, I mean, I even had like dark spots of the night.
That's what Jaeger
Like
does.
I was like totally drunk. I fought like with the Jewish guy, like was sitting like
You
beside
messaged me. You said you're right. He's an asshole.
Yeah, he's like, I was like, okay, I'm leaving. And like I left, so I don't know if I paid the bill or not. I went to the next day to Fusion to ask, and they said, yes, everything is paid. So I wrote to Daniel, and he said, do I owe you something that you paid for? He never wrote back. And then after I went to that party, like my friend Patrick invited me, and Jimbo and Ashley, the guys from my sister were there, and like we were just like partying like crazy. I mean, they left on Monday. So
they're
see me on Sunday, and I said, no, I'm staying home. And then like I saw Ashley before he left on Monday because he wanted to meet before he left. I don't know. I mean, I just wanted to ask about them. And why did you leave without saying goodbye?
No, because I
You
needed.
left like so suddenly.
No, you were in the middle of like this conversation over there. You're like deep in this conversation, and sometimes I don't do. I had to go. I had someone wait. No, everyone. Trust me. Everyone was in their own conversation. So I later I sent a message. I was like, hey, that I left, but I had my like organized business.
And then like I wrote to you, and you were like so serious and like so like.
I didn't say
I
anything.
have a visitor.
That's all I said.
Yeah, but it was like so cute. You're like, hey, you have to come to the party. You're like so cold with
No,
your
I was
serious.
But
And then
you have to
didn't
understand,
write back
that's-
anything. I was like, is he mad at me? What did I do? I was so drunk.
It's text message.
I know.
So you don't know the context. I was being polite. I was like, I have a visitor. Because that was the quickest way.
Yeah,
to
I
say
know.
it. So I was good, but I was
Well, I
listening.
just wanted
You were
to
like,
make
I'm
sure.
going to this party. And you sat, I was like, man, this shit is some cocaine.
No, I wish I would have had coke. I wouldn't have been like so drunk. Hey, I want to ask you something real quick. Actually, I have this friend. He would like to get to listen everything that happens here. Do you like record everything that happens here?
Yes, it's all right there. It's all recorded. All the audio from
But
all
if-
the microphones.
If my friend who is in Madrid,
You send him the link. Yeah, it's all recorded. It's live. So you can send him a
in
link.
the
And
chat, that we have.
I always put it in the group.
So it's all recorded in a video.
And
okay.
the audio is all, I have all the audio from all everyone talking, it's like pure audio.
You know, you should put like a can or something for people to put money in.
They have
It's
one,
like
but
sending,
like
no, but for you guys. I mean,
no, I know they have it for
I
us,
mean,
but
that of like sending money, like with the, I mean, I'm like no
we do all.
technology
We do all. People come up and they give it to us. But people are. I ask people. I said, "Hey, I have a camera. If anyone's be able," no one ever helps with it. It's funny to me. They'll come to me privately. There's Noah. This time, by the way, since you mentioned it, all the audio is pure audio because I bought this thing. So later,
So my comment costs you a whole bunch of money.
no, we needed it anyway.
And now I'm here.
So it's not like the audio from this camera. It's like all the microphones. But if you heard it live, you would actually like hear it. You're in the middle. I swear you were there for a moment. In the beginning. For me, I have to retreat. It's like a sensory well, I know that some people will say like like categorize it. I just know that it's very intense. Somebody should have to back off. You have triple. Yeah, I mean, you had triple. Like,
yeah, I had them inside.
When I met you, I saw you. It's different these days. Like, we can
Yeah, I feel like when I meet people, it's like, they're going to stop me. How much are they going to know? Okay. Instead of asking,
it's just too easy to know everything. Wow.
It was just sick little one.
That's the way it goes. Not one, not two, but three.
No, but yeah, the body type doesn't. It was like, let's see how we're gonna do this.
No, because I heard.
Well,
I noticed that, and perfect. You know, bilingual, you know, everything was perfect. Because for me, I've always, wow, quadro, how would you say it? Poly. So I can look at things. Since I was a kid, I had like a narrow. And the thing is, it's actually going against the wall. But I had a narrow memory, so I'll look and I'll remember. So I can go through your feet, and then I can see someone else's feet, and I just like lock these little.
I have a visual memory. It's very typical for men.
Really?
Men are very visual. Women are more auditory.
I turned it off. It's gone.
You need another one?
Check. Maybe there's another one somewhere. Check. Do you like it? It's different.
I'm actually
Go back.
looking back for you guys.
Oh, really? Interesting move. You're being what?
I'll be in Tucson.
Oh, because Well, that's the last place I was. Not Tucson, but Phoenix. It's one of my best friends up here. It's a direct flight from Cancun to Phoenix.
That's my plan.
American.
Yeah, my brother's coming on Saturday. Are you gonna be here Wednesday?
Yeah, I'm not going. Dude, usually I feel so boring now. I've been going for like 70 years, and now I feel just in one place. I'll be here.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So next Wednesday, so the
This is-
30th. On the 30th, my brother and I are going to Ocean Riviera Paradise. Funny when you messaged me. He got it, and then he said going to
But what prompted the move?
The business I was running, we're dissolving the company because the profitability is not that great. It's not and also
You need to physically be there.
No, I don't even.
I just say it because there's just so many tax-free benefits.
Well, it's also like it's mainly the business, like the product quality is not what we thought we got into this. So we get really good results for every 1 in 5 businesses. That's terrible. I don't want to be in a business that you only get results good every 1 in 5 clients, customers you have. So it's not worth it for us to continue. And even at scale, I was like, if at scale, like, oh, can we send more emails for our clients to get better results? And then, like, again, it depends on the industry. Some industries, like e-commerce stores, do really well, or solar companies, they respond really well, but other companies like HVAC marketing agencies or marketing advertising agency, it's only fun for them is harder than
You guys take donation, right? I like to donate.
Is it special?
It's very special.
What?
See you on the weekend, possibly.
Oh, yes. Just the fight this weekend. We're doing it. Your place or wherever. It's happening. So I have your projector. This weekend it's on. Y'all too. You're in the group. UFC. But you have to be there. Is this a special cookie?
It's very special.
Is it THC?
Very THC.
It is?
Very THC.
So I can scan this and get the info? Like how much, how many?
And all that kind of stuff. I was given by... It's a cookie. It's a very special cookie. It's a donation, all donation.
No, thank you. Because every time you send beers up and like...
Hey man, that's the least I can do. Just check this out, right? Freedom, yeah.
No, I want to know how much THC though.
I don't know exactly.
So I can't eat the whole thing?
Those two, they half and half, they still standing.
So I can eat a whole one, maybe.
I would recommend you have first.
I'm sure it's
we can share with Daniel.
Thank you. I love it. I love it.
Bye. Sorry for arriving late. I
good.
was on a yoga class. Actually, I have a yoga class now on Wednesdays at 6.
All good. You're here. You're here. It was a bigger one.
Yeah, it was super cool. I'm just sorry that I missed it. It's like super cool for me to listen to everything.
This weekend, UFC. I'll message you.
UFC? What's UFC?
UFC. You took jiu-jitsu. Mixed UFC. United, the biggest MMA. UFC.
Ah, okay. So what happened with you guys?
An event. I'll let you know this weekend.
Okay. For us to see it together?
We're having a party.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Enjoy whatever is in the journey.
I will. No, but do you have to be on?
You said
Lobster.
He's the one that does that.
Right.
Oh, you have it.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
You give me that one back.
Is it strong? Okay.
Not the smaller one.
Wait, tell me the difference.
What do you think the fucking difference is, mate?
No. Wait. How many
This is a song.
milligrams? In this?
A lot less, isn't it?
Well, it could be 30 inside that little amount. And if I'm watching my calories, then I'll take that one. Are you making it?
No, it's my friend. My friend made it. But I said to him, look, I'll give it out to you.
No, I'm a.
You like that, do you? You're gonna love me. You're gonna love that.
Well, the last time I had a fucking edible, I was high for 2 days.
30 milligrams.
It's in that, yeah. Okay.
All right.
So you've got one, right?
No, I don't. But the last time I had an edible, I was high for 2 days. And the worst experience.
Not 10. Not a 10 milligram. Like, this is 30.
I probably had a lot more because I made a firecracker and we didn't have a grinder for the weed. We didn't put it in butter or anything or oil. And so we just baked the graham cracker and Nutella and weed in the oven. And then we ate it.
Yeah, but that'll burn it. It'll give you a bad high. You have to do the oil.
Let's put it this way, I'm not riding.
Well, I'm gonna piss him.
So I'll get you
I'll take a small one.
All right, I'll give you this. I'll give you the one I've got.
With Reese's too, huh? Wait, don't move, okay? Because I gotta fucking piss so bad.
I got a piss too.
But I wanna know about the
Oh yeah.
So I think we're doing the second, right? I sent you. What did I sent you one.
Yeah, you texted me then. I was like, right. You just randomly texted me. I was like, what the hell?
What's time? No, but do you have to? You have to be. I don't know. There's probably benefits maybe of being there physically. Maybe you want to be there physically.
You want the real truth?
You hate it here. What? A girl.
I'm like really embarrassed.
It's all good. Between here and there?
Yeah.
It's easier there?
No, cool.
Okay. I thought, for some reason, I thought you were from New York. You never lived
Never been
south.
here. Never been to New York.
Never been.
I'm from
It's like,
Chicago.
or north. I thought you were from like so the whole fucking time I thought you were from up north.
Yeah.
South, Chicago. So there, okay. No, that makes sense. Dude, how old are you? 21? You're a baby.
No, I know.
it just sucks. It's like a lot of bad things happen in a short amount of time. Not like investing. I mean, investing wise, a few years ago, back in a hedge fund, I got fucked. My mom saved me. Like she gave me $25,000, and I paid her back every single month.
Yay! And it's okay. No sound. Wonder where it is. So
I've been paying her, and that extra money that I was making, that I was paying her, I couldn't use and save, but I had to pay her. And I wasn't making a lot of time.
Well, I mean, I'm grateful. Like, I'm sorry if I already told you, but like with my business, if you could picture the coolest fucking business, literally, I didn't have to do anything, and I made about like $1,000 or more a day just from that, without doing anything.
Is that from
In Costa Rica, like, well, we have so many renters, but what happened was the ones that were exclusive, I mean, no one else can rent them out. At the beginning of the pandemic, no one knew what was going on. So you imagine, because no one knew what was going on. Imagine you're an investor and you got a shitload of real estate and you're over leveraged and you have no money in the bank and you don't believe in having money in the bank and you just don't have any in the bank and you just got a bunch of property. And then all of a sudden you're worried if your tenants can pay. So the offers that they were getting, which all the owners were getting offers because they knew they were killing it on Airbnb with us. And so they were like, offer. And they were telling me we're getting offers. And I was like, don't do it. And they didn't. But what happened during the pandemic, they were calling them fucking people up and taking the offers. So all of a sudden, all these houses were gone like that. And so it was, the cool part was making it not depend on me being there. So I didn't have to be there at all. It was so easy. It was so easy to the point to where like I kind of lost my like hunger because it's just too easy. I just do whatever I want, and I didn't have that drive anymore, and I could see that as a problem. So this could all be this weird fucking blessing in some way. But what I did was I don't have any bills or any debt at all, and I had this money, so I just started putting it in everywhere. Like I was going to use 100,000 to just scatter around, and that's what I did. I put it in like hyper fund. I don't know if you heard of that.
You put in hyper?
Yeah. Well, here's. I put 10,000 in. Oh, that guy. Yeah. If he comes at you with it, you'll be skeptical. But if someone else like super smart investor comes to you, you'll understand it better. It's all perception. Like Daniel, the guy that speaks. He got, when I met him in March, and he put in 10,000, and he compounded. So he makes about 7,000 passively. So you can get your money straight back in like 6.8 months, 7 months. There's ways to get it back in like 6 or 5 months. But I just put it in, and I'm already earning. You know what I mean? I earn like $70 or something like that. Yeah, $50 or $60. So I make $1,500 a month. I'm just going to get my money out first, and then the rest is just like $1,500 a month. And then I work on solid block or another thing, helium mining. I'm doing, all these things are just passive.
I did hash player when I first started. It was like one of the first cloud mining ones.
What hash
player?
What happened?
Bitcoin crashed. So the cost for mining was higher than like what you earned. So like,
I'm just trying to build some up.
Got to do the bike tomorrow, yeah, because I'm going off to Merida, and I might not be back
here.
Huh? Not yet. I'll bring her when she comes. But yeah, I'm going off to Merida because I want to buy a decent vehicle.
You're doing it right. That's the place to go.
Yeah, and the thing is, as I said, as you well know, you were right because I said no, we could do it tomorrow, and you go no, take your time. When you fucking move, everything fucking changes. It takes you a couple of days to calm down because you've got to find this, find that, find the other.
You're happy here.
Happy.
You're close?
No. Yeah, I'm just 2 streets down. The reason I moved is that the guys who ripped me off have got me that place, so I just wanted to get out of it.
Sever ties.
New everything.
Well, tomorrow. I already
Yeah.
put it in my diary.
Yeah. So what I'll do is
Calendar.
I'll do it, and I'll do it. You want it late in the day, don't you, or later?
I'll leave the preference after 5.
Yeah. Okay. We'll do that. And as I said, I've got you your lock, and I've got you your chain, so that's all done. And I'll get Tanya to give you the actual stuff. Yeah, because she sent it to me, but I want to get the original.
Yeah, if you can run it by the guy, we're good to go. Don't worry about it. I'll see you.
You've got to be reliable. So, for example, George had done. He sent my friend some crypto, and
I did hyper, by the way. I
Yeah.
put 10,000.
Right. Did you?
Or Monday.
Right. I'm such a newbie. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm probably going to stick, I don't know, 100, 150. Because I've got a loan maturity. And there's what I'll do is I'll stick 150 in, see how it works. But I'm going to try out different people.
That's one thing I just said. Fuck it.
That's good. As I said, the way these meetings go, they're so informative.
We'll make it more. Like NFTs, for example. We did NFTs like in March. It was packed in March. But now we need to do it again. We did it last March. April or May.
Chris, I just want to thank you very much. Lovely event, and we had a great time. I guess we'll see you. I think we might move back to Fiat because this is where the community
Love to have you.
Well, I appreciate that. I have more questions than contributions.
That's just equally important. But just so you know, the next 2 Wednesdays are just completely social events because Daniel's leaving it and we have that one. But anything that you want to know, we all take it into consideration. Like if Sal messages me something like NFTs and you message me, then we have a separate group. Then we discuss like who's asking most of what like a consensus, and then we just talk. Not perfect.
Well, I got shaken down by the police last time we were left by the husband said faces, and now my husband's like, "You're not driving alone." And I'm like, "I think I can manage." Yeah, well, we're new here. I'm an experienced traveler. He's not. He always put me on a plane and he at the airport. Now he's here. He's nervous. Not nervous. Just getting shaken down by the police. It's a little bit nervous. Yeah. In the meantime, I can't go on the road at night. Now, and I generally don't have these issues with my husband.
It's not a bad
No, it's I'm like, it's only been 3 weeks. So I'm going to give it 3 more weeks before I sort of break down myself.
They'll have that mask off.
Yeah. Exactly. The police are assigned. I'm like, you have to care about me. It's very nice meeting you.
No, I knew who he was. The dude with the mask. What? He's gone now, but he was the one guy with the mask. Actually, that's the first person that's ever wore a mask. He wore a mask when he would get up and go and shit. You'd be hard pressed to have. Well, fuck. I mean, if you got, yeah. You know what's best.
Yeah, I mean, the only problem is like, I've like tried to find a job like that. And I'm still running into like companies don't they like want a college degree. And I'm like, dude,
what about in the blockchain? That realm. There just seems like
there is. I'll look more than that because I will have like Guy, like I have more experience than a fucking first run of college.
Don't let that deter you. That shit is bullshit. More people know it now.
I don't want to do it. That's why I'm always the truth. I know I can't rely on that.
The crypto industry, like, that's one place that doesn't. But, like, one of my best, Jonas is my friend, and right now he's worth $12 million. He was one of my friends in Boston. He knew everything as clear as I did, like in 2014, and just as crystal clear. And I was like, "Damn, you're excited, aren't you?" And what he did was he went on Reddit. He works for Kraken, and he took in stock. So that 12, that's from his Bitcoin. So with Kraken, you know, he got that job in fucking Reddit for him. He didn't have a college degree.
First, there's a big investor in Kraken. There's a Bitcoin at 25 cents. His name is the Bitcoin Now podcast. His name is Trace Mayer.
I don't want to say no.
But yeah, he first got into Bitcoin at 25 cents. Like, super comfortable.
All right. Just hanging out next week. So. Let's see. Just for the social. Some of it was nuts. The funny thing is, I feel like I love observing. I took the best one. That's good. That woman that just came up is closer to my age than most of the girls that I talked to.
Why not?
And I'm like, fuck. If you saw me, if you didn't know me at all, would you say I was, what age would you say? Honestly.
Like 30.
Because I can.
How old are you?
39. I'll be 40 in January. If I don't shave, because I have white
Yeah.
in the beard, and it's funny when I shave it clean, like.
Well, I saw you. Directly.
The dreadlock chick. Chris.
I saw you say hi, and I was like, that's probably Chris.
No, I see it right here. There's two over here. For 2 years, I traveled. No, it'll be funny to you. I don't have to explain that.
Oh, now. Oh, of course, after. I mean, after. Nice. It's not like a fast breakup.
Because I had to try. I was trying to do my best. But thank God. When I was there, I was like, the reason I said that is because not one of my girls took a job with me, but we both had we worked together, but after a year, so I had to right before I moved here, I was like in I walk around for like a couple minutes. I saw you walking. I can read.
Hello.
I actually have to go to a meeting now. So
Saturday. Thank you. Yeah, I'll work on another lens, but this was like a universal. But the depth of field always looks good.
Yeah, it does. It looks great. It does. Yeah.
When you come, do you get focused on crypto at all? Like a little bit?
I do have. I just most of this anyway. I mean, I'm like buying
I'm the same.
I'm like,
I'm the same.
I couldn't even explain to you.
Well,
like I'm very basic. I know enough to know I need to just do it. Yeah.
Believe. I know I've seen your face on YouTube anyway.
Oh, you should get the fuck out of here.
No, I'm sure I have. Yeah? Something's familiar. But I'm the same as like swinging that trade. Like when it goes down, everyone's freaking out. I'm like, yes, just buy more because I just plan at the end of the year, at the beginning of next, I'll sell it off and just wait for it to go down again and teach it. Not the complicated. A lot of some people, they're dead and stuff like that. It's like,
everybody loves to say, I love things like growing up. Growing up, I was never like this fuck. That's just my safety. I like sitting down. Now, when my business in Costa Rica got involved, travel, we had like 70 minimum, like agreements and exclusive, and you couldn't even enter the country unless you were a resident. And the owners, they didn't know they're over leveraged with no money in the bank, just real estate. So they were always getting off. They said they're killing it. So it was uncertain. So they had a little bit of cash in the bank. So it's still there. But it took a huge hit, and but I was just putting cash in, so I had cash in the bank, and now economics 101, just with them printing it, I was like, damn, I don't want it there. So then, just simple shit. But I was just, well, I had Bitcoin in 2012, and if I would have just taken 1 hour, because my dad, since I was a kid, he was always in stocks and
He's preaching Fiat.
My dad is the same. My dad and my brother's in finance.
You heard them walking
And
around.
my dad is like groomed him to be in that job now. My dad's like earned his small fortune just like as he's a nurse, him and my mum, but then trading Fiat.
Well, but what I meant was I didn't understand what Fiat. I didn't understand what Fiat was. My dad was telling me. I have all these flashbacks of my dad saying, "We left the gold standard. We left the gold standard," and I didn't know what he was talking about. Now I do. So when I talk to him like that, I mean, just the fact that Fiat's not backed by anything, and they could just issue trading quick.
But my dad and brother, like, they're on the other, like, they're really into it. They don't see that. They don't see that. Like, they don't. I don't know. It's like, I've never heard them talk about the fact that Fiat are classified. I've never heard them have that conversation.
That's what Fiat is.
Yeah.
By definition.
But I've never had that. I've never even had that conversation. And this is the thing that I want to have that conversation. Like, what do you really think about that, guys? Come on, you're smart, intelligent people. I know that there's something weird about that. That's just paper. And that when you put your money in the bank, you lose it. You're losing money.
You know why?
Yeah, I know why. And they know, but they're just like, well, that's just the way the system is. We're just going to work it. And they think they're working the system.
Do they have gold or like all those things?
My dad has got some gold. Yeah, he's got some silver and silver. I don't know about my brother, but my dad is like trading. He's like trading. He's been trading his whole life.
I'm sure he would do well.
No, he's done really well, considering. Imagine if my dad he's like 16, 17, he just turned 17.
How old are you? 23, 30, 29, 30.
I'm 37.
So you're the same age.
Yeah.
So you look super young. How old is Ruth?
He's a year old.
39. So I'm
super young.
I guess it's stress, but maybe too much.
Oh shit! Scan this real quick before my phone dies.
My phone can't.
Yeah. I got 1% left. Go, go, go.
Or we can just do the whole food thing and find everyone.
No, wait. No, this is the whole thing you should do. You need to put it on your screen. That way it's one action.
I haven't said bye yet. I want to say goodbye. We're going home now. But because our flight's been postponed.
So you are going to need to follow it.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
no notification.
Yeah.
You gotta get the app always.
I think they just they're going for telepathy. They've already set into Aquarius. That's the thing. They're a 5-dimensional. They are. They're a big 5-dimensional. Really? Really? She is honoured to be in their presence. Yeah.
Try to
We're gonna
we might do a year in that. Magnificent rock. So you go there, you
maybe tomorrow Friday night do
Friday is going to be Monday.
Yeah. Okay.
Will it be here? Thursday tomorrow.
Yeah. Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Okay.
Every time you try to find big help, that's just on that one.
Can't help it. It's been so many years running events together. See, because on the stage I get a little twitchy. I feel like skiving.
I'm aware of it. Because you already have a system built in.
Yeah. Right, my husband's provided.
What it is?
Y'all didn't get that yet. What, is that you? Definitely gonna die before.
It's just
It's all your everything, right? I like that, man.
God, appreciate that you're here.
Yeah. Or they speak in a way that's not.
Sometimes they're first like
Yeah. No, I'm Java developer. And like, I know a lot of brilliant dudes. They just can't communicate. Like, you know, somebody that's not technical. They're kind of like, man, if you don't understand, then I just can't help you. You know, they kind of
be like, oh, she looks so thin. Ever since I touched the computer, like, I can't work. We had Botox in there, and I just
same, bro. So I'm 44. Shut up, man. You look younger than me, bro. I'm almost 40.
But I love it. I love it.
I was. I do have a son. Yeah, how old is she?
I haven't lived in the States for a long time.
Mom's in Costa Rica too? Of course.
I've been there for about 5 years. I used to live in this apartment. I lived in Iraq. Once I moved out there, I go. I never went. I'm always there, but I'm not there. Because I can't. I usually travel. I'm here from May. I'm here from November to May. Then I go overseas. And then I come back. And now I can travel to trying to make a community.
It's smart. First of all, what did you use for your landing page for that QR code?
Not simply that.
Right. Is it a WordPress template or shit?
So static. I usually would use WordPress. So I got it just in just for the background. No, but that even that's my that's what I rarely open it only for that. I made it in about an hour and a half, 2 years ago.
What's up, big Chris? Hey, I got your number.
Yeah. You got your number. See you tomorrow. What's your time window?
Whatever.
Enjoy that. Where you from? We live here. We're from England.
You guys are together, right?
Yeah, Daniel.
Good, Danny? Where you guys from? Well, I've been watching Dairy Girls, which is like
Fucking these English turning up. I think they're right.
oh shit. Because I leave. I mean, no, but I'm still on Brixton.
Yeah.
They're selling American cereal like food, like
Yeah, they love it.
Like you some Fruit Loops?
I remember Brixton when I'm going in the 80s.
I went to camp.
It still is a good place. I know, but yeah.
Oh, these are so much fun. The events.
I know.
Are we still live? I just now turned it off, but everything was cut. I was laughing.